it's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, so hit that bell icon and the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. So in today's episode, I'm going to be discussing with you how I met my heterosexual Indian soulmate life partner when I'm a sex repulsed asexual and don't want sex. So stay tuned for that. First of all, if you don't know who I am, Sandra Bellamy, best-selling author of awesome Asexual Perspectives book out on Amazon. So I have finally met the guy of my dreams, and this is something I've talked about numerous times on this channel, that I believe I have an Indian soulmate from a past life who I've been trying to find in this life. I do believe in reincarnation. I'm more spiritual than religious. And reincarnation basically means that your spirit, your soul lives on through different lifetimes. So when you die, your body physically decomposes, but your spirit still stays alive. Your essence still lives. And I believe that since 2014, the same year I found out I'm asexual, that I have an Indian soulmate somewhere in the world that I knew from a past life, and I need to find him in this one. Now, I never knew until 2014 that I was meant to be with an Indian guy. And it's because I had an experience with a heterosexual Indian blogging guy that first got me thinking I meant to be with an Indian guy. That didn't actually end well, because he said that he was thinking about changing his plans from going to Canada, from India to Canada, to come to the UK, that he didn't want to die a virgin. In other words, he'd have sex with other women, which is so bad. And so, I had to let him go from my life, obviously, because it's not a good guy for me. But it was then that I felt this familiar type of bond and this familiarity about Indian guys. And then the following year, I thought it was actually in 2014, but it looks like it was the following year in 2015. There was an Indian guy who was asexual on an asexual dating site. And we were talking for a little bit, and just for a few messages, hadn't known each other that long, I felt like I had a connection with the guy, and I felt like I was really, I felt like I really was interested in Indian guys, but it didn't work out because I told him how I felt about him, and then he just stopped talking to me. And so I just felt all of a sudden I'm really meant to be with an Indian guy. Obviously, these guys weren't the right guys, but I'm meant to be with an Indian guy. And ever since then, when I'm around Indian guys, when I look at Indian guys, when I speak to Indian guys, when I'm in Indian company, even in Indian groups and stuff like that, it's really familiar. And it's like I'm meant to be with an Indian guy. And, everything points to an Indian guy. And I just noticed that I have my top asexual ace attractions, if you like, for Indian guys. Like, I have up to 8 attractions. They're asexual attractions, those attractions without sex. And it's for Indian guys specifically. So I also get attracted to Bangladesh guys, Pakistani guys, but it's specifically Indian guys the most. And it doesn't matter what other guys I had dated in the past, whether it's Pakistani, Bangladesh, it's always an Indian guy I think I'm meant to be with, even though some people could say that Pakistani guys aren't that much different to Indian guys in the sense of the India was split up, wasn't it, into different kind of parts. So some Pakistanis say they're Indian when they're not. But for me personally, when I'm around Indian guys compared to Pakistani guys, I don't see my future being with a Pakistani guy. I've always seen my future being with an Indian guy. And specifically, I've said on this channel, I believe my Indian soulmate is clean shaven, short dark hair, but I like to run my fingers through it. Baby soft skin is my ideal type of skin, coloured skin, and doesn't have facial hair, doesn't ideally have body hair, because I really don't like hairy guys, and he's thin, and yeah, who's, I think my guy, I said, is into IT and or business and can code websites, for example. That's what I think he is. I thought he's younger than me, in his early to mid 20s, probably like 21 or 23, something like that. But definitely in his 20s, like the maximum I usually get attracted to in guys in the 20s is like 28. I have been attracted to guys who are like, an Indian guy, for example, is 32, but usually it's guys in their 20s. But I knew I needed to find a guy who was different to his culture, who was proud to be seen with an older girl in public, and who's happy to be with someone without sex, marriage, kids, or living together, which is very difficult to find because in Indian culture, they all want to get married and usually they want kids, usually they want sex, usually they want to live together. So it's like the same old type of thing. And I live very, very unconventionally. So I knew I was looking for an Indian guy that is very different to his own culture and that, basically knows his own mind, doesn't have to do everything his parents tell him to do. And someone who's like business minded, intellectual. So in terms of attractions for attractions for Indian guys or attractions full stop, I can have my most for Indian guys. So uh, attractions I experience are aesthetic attraction, romantic attraction, emotional attraction, spiritual attraction, clothes attraction, intellectual attraction, sensual attraction with the guy's upper part of his body. And there's one more, which I feel creative attraction, I think it is. So romantic, aesthetic, spiritual, emotional, creative, intellectual, sensual with the guy's upper body. And yeah. Have I missed any out? I might have missed them out. Clothes attraction as well. Yes. So with the guy I've met, he actually ticks all those boxes. Like he's not 21 and 23, but he's 27, but he looks much younger. Like much younger. He says he gets mistaken for like being 21 or 19 even. And I've seen his driver's license, so he definitely is 27. He's going to be 28 in October. So he is really beautiful, aesthetic looking. Like I could not wish for a better looking guy in terms of aesthetics. He's stunningly beautiful. He's exactly my type because I'm not into big, hairy, six-pack, muscly guys like who are really macho. I don't like that type of guy at all. I like baby soft, cute boy next door looks and soft skin, and yeah, he has all that look and he's stunningly beautiful. But his characteristics are lovely. I have emotional attraction towards him, spiritual, because I believe he's my soulmate that I knew from a past life. Really aesthetically attracted to him, romantically attracted to him, sensually attracted to him. I'm more sensually attracted to him than I thought I'd be. So yeah, that's good. Creative attraction. I'm not sure in terms of creativity how creative he is, but he's very intellectually stimulating for me, and he's a really good guy. He's got such lovely traits, like he's calm and caring and kind and empathetic and sympathetic and listens to me a lot, tries to improve himself, improve his behavior. If there's something that I'm upset or don't like or is not quite feeling good to me, he'll want to know what it is so he can sort it out and make sure things are the best they can be between us, and obviously I have to do that as well, vice versa. He puts 100%, more than 100% effort into the relationship, and so do I. He's trying to do all he can to stay in the UK because at the moment his visa runs out later on this year, so he's got to get his visa got to get sponsorship so that he can get a visa renewal, or new visa, should I say, so he can stay permanently in this country. So at the moment, that's a little bit up in the air, a little bit difficult and stressful. But I've been searching for this guy for absolutely years because I believed in this guy for years. And I do believe this is the guy I knew in a past life because we're so natural with each other. It's like we've known each other for a very long time. We have a really great connection. We get on really well. We do make each other laugh. We can tell each other anything. We do listen to each other. He listens to me probably more than I, in terms of I'm more of a talker. He's more of a listener, but I do listen as much as possible to him. But he probably has maybe a little bit more better listening skills maybe than I do. Maybe I'm not sure about that because I do listen to him intently, and he likes taking care of me. And if I'm not feeling well, then he's like worried about me. So he's a really kind, caring person. He's very loyal without sex. He said he doesn't need sex in a relationship. He's never had an in-person proper relationship before with a girl, so he's inexperienced in terms of like sex, and we don't have sex and he's fine about that. So He's not even experiencing kissing, but he is now. He's been with me since he's been with me. Oh my lord. So, he's a really nice guy, really lovely guy. And I feel really lucky and blessed to have him. Is everything perfect? I know. There's still difficulties that crop up that, me and him have to talk about, especially because we haven't known each other as long in this lifetime, you know, compared to the previous lives we've lived together, or life we've lived together. But so there's still like room for improvement and things we need to continuously work on. But I like the fact he's always prioritizing me, always making time for me, always seeking to better the connection between us, better the relationship between us. And he's very proactive like that. I really like that about him. And he's basically changing his whole life for me, because he was planning that if he couldn't get a visa renewal to stay in the UK, that he would go abroad. He's already got a visa to go to Canada. And, he thought about going back to India as well, but he wants to definitely stay in the UK now to be with me. So it's amazing. He actually wants to move to my city. So, but it depends where he can get work. It depends where he gets sponsorship. But it would be amazing if he came to live in my city. It would be so good. And I'm really glad that he loves me that much already, that he wants to do that, It is important we're close to each other. It is important that we're beside each other. It is important that we're, close to each other. It's really important that. And so how did I meet this guy? Well, if you've tracked my progress of my finding my Indian guy for years, you'll know that I've been on numerous asexual dating sites. I've been in dating groups on Facebook. I've been on I've been both on asexual dating sites and apps, and non-asexual, or predominantly non-asexual dating groups and apps. For example, I've been on Badoo for a long time, and that has an asexual category, but it's hard to actually find any asexual guys on there. I think I came across 9 in total. It was 8 or 9, but they're on the asexual spectrum, but they still seem to be on the more sexual end of the asexual spectrum and wanting sex, which I don't want. And yeah, so Badoo was something I used a lot, and I still run my own asexual dating groups as well. But I did actually meet my guy through Facebook dating. I did say to you on this channel that there are a lot more Indian guys on Facebook dating than Badoo and anywhere else really that I've been. And so I knew that if I was going to find him, it's more than likely going to be that app, the Facebook dating app, than it is within Facebook itself, than it is going to be to another place. Because, if the other places don't actually have many Indian guys, I'm going to find my guy, am I? So in his profile, he was writing that he lived in London and saying, what's your favourite spot in London? And he said that he was looking for someone who gave him mental peace, but is also a little bit crazy. So I thought that just sounded like me, because I'm a bit crazy in a good way. And, I can give him mental peace at the same time by being stable and strong for him, like giving him the reassurance that he needs, that I love him and I'm very loyal and faithful and kind and caring towards him, So someone who knows what they want, because I know exactly what I want. That's him. So, and he'll have crystal clear clarity with me that he probably wouldn't get with a younger girl. He has no preference for age either. So the fact I'm an older girl, is fine. And so it's really, really, really good. He ticks all of my boxes. Like I said, not perfection. There are some things that he says that I'm like, I don't quite like that. It doesn't make me feel great. But it isn't anything nasty towards me. It's just like something that crops up that I'm thinking it's a bit difficult for me to deal with because I'm not used to it. So yeah, so that's how I met him, on Facebook dating. So I got talking to him on Facebook dating, and I just sent a message back to say that actually I personally like going to East Street Thai restaurant in London, because I'm more of an entertainment foodie type of person than I am actually a scenery type of person. And so that's how we got talking. And so I gave him the first message because I looked at his bio and saw that he lived in London. And I always say that London's like my second home. And I did actually say on this channel as well that I believe my soulmate, if he doesn't live in my own city, will live in London, because that's always been like my second home for years since I started my entrepreneurial journey in 2012, so I do feel very at home there. But I've always been, I'm in Orange, should I actually move there or not? Because like where I like visiting is great, but I don't know that I'd actually like to live there, if you know what I mean, because it's like, you know, very big, and Exeter's quite small and personal, if you know what I mean. It's a lovely, beautiful city. So yeah, and I love a lot of things about him. He isn't asexual, he is in fact heterosexual, but he can be without sex. So that's really good. He loves me for who I am, and he said no woman, you know, should, no matter what sexuality you are, no woman should be doing what she doesn't want to do. You know, which is really good. I like his attitude a lot, and it's really nice. So, you know, he doesn't touch me in any places I don't want to be touched. And he's very respectful of my boundaries, but because he's heterosexual, he doesn't care what I do with him in terms of touching. I restrict my own body to him, but he doesn't give me any restriction on it, so which is quite nice. You know, I think it's important for both people, asexual and heterosexual, to just be themselves in the relationship. I feel really safe with him. Physicality wise, he'll ask me if I want to do something, or if I want to try something, or you know, and if I maybe want to try something and then I don't want to try again, it's fine. You know, I think it's just really nice. So it took me 10 years though to find this guy, because 2014 is when I've intuitively believed I had an Indian soulmate in a past life, and that's the first year I thought about it and felt it, you know. And then it's now 2024, so it's taken me 10 years. So basically you have to go on as many dating sites as you can, go in as many dating groups as you can, go on as many dating apps as you can, and then keep like just messaging people that you think might be suitable. I did not message loads of guys at all. I did not message loads of guys, I should say, at all, because I'm not messaging anyone now but him, obviously, because I'm in a relationship with him. I like deleted the dating apps as many as possible. I still got more dating groups to delete on Facebook, I think. But, you know, it's very important that I'm with the right guy, and I do believe he's the right guy for me. I think it's gonna inevitably still be challenges ahead, because, you know, you're two different people coming together from different ethnicities, different backgrounds, different ways of doing things, different ways of being, different thoughts, feelings, emotions. And so things like that, difficulties are bound to crop up, and sometimes they do, you know. But he's very good at handling conflict, he's very good at handling difficulties, so that helps the relationship a lot. You know, he's very good at listening, excellent listener. And he does pay me a lot of attention, which I really like. When we're out, he's not busy like going around like that looking at other women. He's literally looking into my eyes, looking at me, looking at me, and talking to me, which I think is a really good thing. You know, you don't want to be with someone whose eyes are wandering all over the place, because it just feels like, why should I even be here if you're not even paying me attention? You know what I mean? So it's really important that. So yeah, if you're looking for your soulmate, I would definitely go with your intuition. Like, I knew intuitively what my guy was like. I mean, he is into IT, he is into business, he's into both. He can do some coding of websites. That's what he studies, like software engineering type stuff. So his actual qualification is in ID, you know. So I was spot on with that. He is in his 20s, spot on with that. Short dark hair, spot on with that. Clean shaven, spot on with that, you know. No chest hair, spot on with that. Every, like, it's like really weird. Like, everything I thought my soulmate was is basically is that, but much, much more, you know? He's a little bit, in terms of like in his 20s, he's a little bit older than I would have thought, but he looks really, really young, like really young. So, like, I thought he'd be 21 or 23, and he's 27, but then he does look 21 or maybe even younger than that. So, yeah, well, that's what he's been told before. It looks like he's 21 or 19. He's really young looking. He's so beautiful. Like, his personality traits are really beautiful as well, which is, I'm really lucky to have him. I do think that. But obviously he's lucky to have me as well. Always remember, when you get into a relationship, that it's two ways, that the person is lucky to have you just as much as you're lucky to have them. You know, I think that's the secret to success in relationships, is about balance. You know, you don't want one person being more of something than the other, if you know what I mean. So it's important to maintain stability in that way. You know, you want to both be putting 100 110% effort in both be complimenting each other, both be caring about each other, both being respectful of each other, and both growing yourself. I have work to do on myself still, you know, like he's a lot more calmer than I am. If I'm a bit like irate about something, he kind of sees it in my voice. Like I'm a bit more like rah rah rah. So he's calmer. I suppose that's complimentary, but I need to work on the being a little bit calmer. I think there is, you know, I do have some insecurities there, not because I don't believe he's the right guy for me, because I believe he is, but you know, when you're in a new relationship and you're just finding out about each other and understanding about each other, you can come up with some insecurities on my part, you know, or his part sometimes. But you know, like I think, you know, you've got to be as understanding with each other as possible, and it takes time, you know, because you know we have not known each other, and we've known each other 10 days before we decide to be in a relationship. So that's not what the advice I gave you on this channel, is it? Like, don't just get into a relationship with someone you don't know, because it's not good, right? But I think there are exceptions to that rule, as in, I think some people just know they're meant to be together forever, and I think some people do love each other soon. I think some people can be together very quickly, you know? And I have far less anxiety now I'm actually in a relationship with him than I did before when I wasn't in a relationship with him. So he already told me he loves me before we even met in person. So yeah, even after the first video call, which I was a bit shocked about, but it's really nice because I believe I knew this guy in a past life. So for me, it's like I've already loved him for 10 years because I've been looking for him for 10 years, which to me makes him really super attractive. And oh dear, I'm still getting my health better. It's not very good coughing on live stream, is it? Never mind. So what I'm trying to say is, you know, I've been searching for this guy for 10 years. He said he's lucky because like he, you know, it only took like 10 days for his whole life to change and to be in a relationship with me. You know, so from the time I started messaging him to the time when we officially got in a relationship, whereas I've been searching for him for 10 years. So he's had 10 days of work, and I've had 10 years of work trying to find him. But for me, I already loved my soulmate before I met him. I told you that on this channel that I already loved the guy from a past life before I met him in this life. So I know it's him. Like, he fits the description of the guy from my past life that I believe I knew. You know, I believe I knew him from past life. So it's Facebook dating. I sent him the first message saying about the place that I like to go to in London, the Thai restaurant. Then he sent a message back about that, and then we were messaging a bit, but I was messaging a lot more than he was. And he's like, "Oh, you're sending me long messages. I don't understand why you're sending me such long messages. I'm guessing it's because you're a writer." I'm like, "Well, that's partly the reason why, but the other reason is because I'm more than like you." You know what I mean? Because I had to spell it out to him. He's actually not a womanizer. He's a really good guy. He's not going around chatting up loads of women. I've seen his he's very open and honest with everything, like with his Facebook Messenger, with his WhatsApp, and with everything with me. You know, he's a really good guy. And so I had to spell it out to him that I was interested in him more than just a friend I was on Facebook dating. You know, and I had to say to him, like, you know, that I'm sending you long messages partly because I'm alright, but because I like you more than like you know, more than a friend. So I had to tell him that because he clearly didn't understand. But then I actually said to him, "But you're right. I probably shouldn't be sending you these long messages because actually I'm looking for my soulmate. So I wish you the best of luck in your life." And I was going to leave his life because I thought, well, clearly if he's not writing me as long a messages back, and he's specifically saying that I'm writing him really long messages, like, why am I doing that? I felt like I'm doing something wrong and he's not that interested. So that's what I said. And then as soon as I said that, he like came in message going, "No, I didn't mean that. I love your long messages. Just that I'm not as good at speaking as you in words." And so, you know, but I really love listening to your long messages. I could listen to you talk for hours, he was saying. I'm like, oh, okay. So I could have like lost him then, actually, you know. But I stayed in the message and he did. He was actually with his friend at the cinema at the time. And when I said to him, "Oh, I wish you the best of luck," then you know, because clearly I'm looking for my soulmate and you're just not giving me many messages back. And that's when he was like, didn't want to lose me straight away. He was like, oh no. He wants me to write him a little message. He's interested in me, you know what I mean, talking to me and stuff. So that was really cool. So I could have actually lost him because he said in his profile he's looking for a serious relationship or casual. And usually I would never go or hardly ever go and approach guys like that, because if some guy's looking for a serious relationship or casual, it's the opposite of each other. And usually it means they don't know what they want in life and they can't take a relationship seriously. But when he explained to me on the video call that what he meant by that was every relationship starts out casually until it's an actual serious relationship, because you're just getting to know each other, so it's not serious. It did make some sense, although when I was talking to him, it wasn't casual. I said to him when I'm talking to him, it's not casual because there was nothing casual about it. I was talking, but anyway, so the first night we video called, it was like over 7 hours, about 7.5 hours. It was amazing. And we just got on really well straight away from the beginning. And we went off Facebook dating to go on to Facebook itself to do a video call. It was my suggestion to do a video call because there was something that was bothering me. So he said something about writing being a hobby for me. And well, he said something about something being a hobby. And he said something about being unusual. That's what makes you special. But it sounded to me like he was, excuse me, he was being insulting, but he wasn't, because in India, he said not many people are writers. So he didn't realize like writing's my career. He thought it was just like a hobby, because that's what most people do if they do writing in this country. It's mostly just a hobby, not a career. So he didn't mean it in a bad way. He's like trying to say that the fact you're doing it for a career is amazing, because most people don't do that. So yeah, anyway, it was all cleared up. But I had to get on a video call with him because I was a little bit like, what does he mean by that? 'Cause it's my whole life is writing. There's not a hobby. It's a serious, committed writing relationship I have with my books. Anyway, that was all solved, but it was better than that because we actually got amazing well. Because I thought if you say about video calling him, Sandra, I think you're going to get on really well with this guy, which I did straight away. And we do have a really good connection with each other, and we do talk to each other really well, open, honest communication at all times. And so I just think it's really, really good that he's in my life finally. But for me, obviously, I feel like I've loved him all my life, like since I've known 2014. So all my life since 2014. Consciously been aware of an Indian guy since then. I wasn't consciously aware I was attracted to Indian guys, or I was meant to be with an Indian guy. So I would give advice to you if you're listening to this right now on how to find your person. It's literally, you have to be prepared to be very patient and very disappointed in the wrong people. You know what I mean? Because you're going to get a lot of people that are wrong for you. Like if you look back through these videos on this channel, you'll notice the amount of times I thought maybe this guy's my soulmate, but no, he's not. Maybe he is. No, he's not. Maybe he is. No, he's not. No, he broke my heart and all the rest of it. But this guy's very different. He's like over 100% committed to me. I know that, and committed to see me, like video calling with me every single night. He likes communicating with me, keeping in touch with me. He likes video calling. He's the one that specifically wants to do. I want to do video calling as well, but he specifically makes a big deal of video calling more than anything else. He's like, why message when you can actually just speak to the person face to face? It's much better. You can see what their facial expressions are like. You can talk about things more in depth. It's much better. So I really love that about him. So I am setting time aside each night to talk to him around my work. It is hard in the sense that I've got less time for my work, but I've got more time for him, which is better for me in terms of the relationship. And I've already made a lot of space in my life for the soulmate, him, to come into it, if you know what I mean. I always said that on this channel. You've got to make way for your soulmate before they arrive in your life, because you've got to know how you're going to fit them in, right? So it's very important. And, I will have to get into a better routine with my work and stuff, because I've still got a lot of work to do. I'm being interviewed on a podcast later today. No, so it's not a podcast, it's a radio show. Dr. Leica, he does a podcast. Well, did a podcast in the past, but he's actually got a radio show now, syndicated radio show. So I'm going to be recorded for his show later on how to live a fantastic life with the point of view from asexuality, which is going to be amazing. He's very supportive of my asexuality and what I do. He's a more private person on social media than I am. He calls himself antisocial. I wouldn't say he's antisocial, but he thinks he is, or says he is. But he keeps his profiles on private, whereas mine public. But he knows I've got to do it for my work. But he's fine about being on my channel sometimes, occasionally, and he's fine about being in photographs with me and him on social media. He's like, just like, yeah, you can put them wherever you want them. So, you know what I mean? That's really nice in a way. I do like the fact he's more private than I am in terms of social media, like to the world, because I think it's important because of the work I do and the amount of publicity I do get. You can get a lot of weird people. I get a lot of weird people messaging me, so it could end up like affecting his life if he had if he had his profile on public, which he doesn't do. So I actually like the fact he's more private in that way. And his profiles are just really for me, obviously family and friends and friends of friends and relatives and relatives of relatives. So I think it's good to have some things that are opposite. He likes cars and football and sports, and I'm not into that. He likes gaming. I'm not into that either. But we both like going to aquariums and out for meals and to the cinema. We both love kissing. He didn't know he loves kissing as much as as much as until he met me. He likes kissing in public as well, holding my hand in public, kissing whenever, wherever. So I've got that bit with him, which I love because I told you I want a guy like that as well. It's very important to me. So even though he's Indian, he doesn't care what people think, doesn't care about age gap, doesn't care what people think about that either. He's just a very loving and loyal, caring guy. And I like the fact he's so good looking, but I was going to say he doesn't realize how good looking he is, but since he's been with me, he's started to realize how good looking he is. Not sure if that's a good thing or not. I think it's a good thing that he feels better about his looks, and his self-confidence has improved since being with me, like since knowing me. He's like, in the 10 days I've known you, my confidence about my looks has really improved, and I feel really good about myself, and I'm really confident, and I like my looks now, and I'm attracted to myself. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, so you're more attracted to yourself than attracted to me? Seems like I might have like had a strange effect on him where he's more attracted to himself than he's attracted to me in terms of aesthetics. I'm like, that's not supposed to happen. But yeah, I know some people can actually be autosexual, autoromantic, so they're more sexually attracted to themselves than anyone else. But yes, it seems he's more aesthetically attracted to himself than anyone else now, I think, since he's been with me. But I mean, it's a good thing in a way, but it's like, excuse me, like I'm here as well. So yeah, I think I feel a little bit insecure about that thing, but I think it's good he's a lot more confident since I've been with him, and he feels good about his looks, and I think that's nice because I think when you're in a relationship that you should be making the person feel really good, special, cherished, loved, wanted, adored, needed. That you should be making them feel good about their looks. But two people should be doing that for each other, right? I see when you're in a relationship, you have a duty of care towards the other person to be making them feel positive emotions as much as possible. You're not going to get it right all the time. You're going to have difficult conversations, and you're going to have to say things you don't like or not happy with. But I think your job as a loving, caring partner is to make that person feel loved and cherished and special and adored and cared for. He said that I'm very loving. I make him feel loved and cared for, and he loves that about me. And it's not just about looks for him because he likes the whole package with me. This isn't what you use the word package, but he likes the connection we have, the fact we have stuff in common, the way we speak to each other, the way things are natural between us, the way that we care for each other, all that type of stuff. So it's really good. It's good to have a good guy at last. I think, like you always have to keep working on yourself as well as working on yourself within a relationship. There's still past issues that crop up to do with things that happen that weren't good, that can cause you insecurities, that can affect your current relationship. So yeah, I do have to process that. You have to say, hey, I might be feeling this because this happened in the past. Because he had someone that wasn't good to him, that wasn't honest to him with the last person he was actually in a relationship with. But it wasn't an in-person relationship. It was meant to become an in-person relationship, but it was an online relationship. And that was quite devastating for him. The person wasn't honest with him. So yeah. So he's been hurt as well in the past, but not as much as I have. But you know, I really care about him and do love him, like, now so much. But like I said, I already loved my soulmate before I met him in this lifetime. So for me, it's no difference. It's just like, oh yeah, I already love you. It's just perfectly normal for me. But he said that he loves me soon as after our first video call. So it's like really nice. He's a really nice guy as well. So he knows I don't like living together, or that's what I've said to him, that I didn't want sex, marriage, kids, or to live together. And he accepts that all about me, but he would like to, if possible in the future, marry me and live with me. And usually I would be dead against that because I haven't thought that I want that for like years of my life. But because he's my soulmate, I do have feelings like maybe I would want to marry him or live with him at both, possibly. And that's really weird for me to say that, but I'm saying the truth on this channel because that's the way I'm currently feeling. But obviously, we've only just got together, and I think you need time in a new relationship to fathom each other out completely and see if that person is really right for you in as much ways as possible. But I was dead against marriage, dead against living with someone forever. And I kind of like, with him, for some reason, it's different all of a sudden, like since I've been with him. It's very bizarre. But at the moment, like, I want to stay in my own place at the moment, and see how things go. I mean, he doesn't live in my city. He currently lives in London, but he wants to move to my city of his own accord. So that would be really nice. I can't have someone living with me where I live. It's a single tenancy only. So he can stay over mine, but weekends, which he's coming this weekend to see me, which is great. But I can't, and that's big. That's all a big change for me, because he's changing his whole life for me because he was like gonna be leaving the UK, and he's not anymore. But he's trying not to. But for me, I didn't even think I could have anyone around my place because I don't have guys in my home usually, but it's different because he's my soulmate. I love him already and everything's natural with him. But as a sex repulsed asexual, I have to let you know that I don't, my body's not being exposed to him, like, because I don't want to do that. I'm not having sex with him. When I saw him the other day, I was like, I did meet him at a hotel, actually. We stayed in a hotel together, but it was a completely like, I'm asexual, so I was in the bathroom, and while he was in the other room, and then I'm like, making sure we're in separate rooms, and I'm getting changed in the bathroom, like I'm not naked in front of him. You know what I mean? Because I have strict boundaries and stuff like that, and he's fine about it. So he completely accepts my asexuality for what it is, and whether I do marry him and live with him or where I don't doesn't really matter, in the sense that he'll still be with me anyway. And he doesn't mind the fact that I don't want sex. He said he can live without sex forever in a relationship, which I believe he can because he's not been with any woman in that way. And he just seems like he's more interested in me as a person and everything I am than whether he has sex or not. He told me he's heterosexual. He does like sex. I think it's obviously he's not actually done that, but he knows he likes it. Just like, when you're asexual, you can know you're asexual without having tried sex. You know that you don't like it without having to try it, if you know what I mean. But he said he can live without that, in a relationship. He likes my personality and qualities and the way I care about him and everything like that, on my personality. And he believes, which is really good, he believes that no woman, any gender should, be doing anything physically they don't want to do. So he's always saying, like, tell me if I touch somewhere I'm not supposed to, like, I'm respectful of you. If I tell him not to touch certain places, he won't do it. But if he by accident even touches it, because when you're being very intimate with kissing and especially cuddling, sometimes hands can go in places that they're not meant. That, well, if you're in a relationship that was heterosexual, for example, just two heterosexuals don't care where they touch each other. They just touch each other all over. But as I'm a sex repulsed asexual and I have like certain areas I don't like to be touched, if he's cuddling me, then his arm or something could touch something that I don't want to be touched. But that's not his fault. It's just because that's the way he's cuddling me. Most of the time it doesn't happen because he's very careful, but you know what I mean? But also, you know, if I do decide I want touching or to try anything, then, you know, I can without him expecting that all the time. Because I do say to him, like, if I do want to try any touching stuff, like, I might not want that tomorrow. And again, I just want to try something. But yeah, so it's really good. You know, and I think you have to just join as many dating apps, dating sites, speak to as many people as you can to find the right person for you. And you have to be proactive. I mean, I've been looking for this guy for 10 years. It's not an easy task. You have to be determined to succeed, never give up, and keep communicating with people. I mean, I didn't communicate with loads of guys. It was like, you know, I pick certain guys out or they pick me, and then I'll talk to them. But as soon as I feel like they're not putting much effort in or they're not that interested, then I'll usually leave the conversation, because there's no point, is there? And you have to turn down a lot of people that are wrong for you. You have to be prepared to say no to the people that are wrong and leave their life as quickly as possible, because you cannot meet the right person if you've got the wrong person in it. I've always kept saying this. It's very important that you realize that life is so precious, and you don't want to be going on dating sites where someone's going, oh, well, we're not suitable for a relationship, but we can still be friends, because usually they don't mean that. And you could accumulate, what, 25 guy friends that way or more by all the guys that like you. You know what I mean? You could just accumulate people. They're not really your friends. They're just saying, let's stay friends, you know? So it's best just to, in the majority of cases, just let those people go and just move on to someone who's more suitable for you. But, you know, start off with a general conversation, which is what I did with him, just talking about stuff in London. You know, I had to actually spell it out to him that I liked him more than just liked him. You know, which I thought was really endearing, actually, for me to have to spell it out to him, because I'm like thinking, you're clearly inexperienced with women if you don't understand that I'm spending a long time messaging you because I really like you more than a friend, more than just a liking person, you know? So, and plus he had in his bio, like I said, about relationship, it didn't say friendship in there, and it didn't say chat that he was looking for. So it said relationship or friendship in my one. But yeah, so I really think it's good that as a sexual pulse asexual, I can find the guy of my dreams, that he is fine with no sex. And, you know, I think it's nice the way he feels about me already. I do feel it's nice that he thinks about marrying me. But he said to me that he asked me, will you be my lifelong soulmate, partner, girlfriend, you know? Well, he didn't, well, he already knows we're soulmates. So he said, will you be my lifelong girlfriend and lifelong partner? He said, I would ask you to marry me, but because in Indian culture they get married a lot, don't they? And he's like, I would ask you to marry me, and I know he loves me already, but he said you don't want that, so that's why I've not asked you. But it's really weird, because I feel like I want to be with this guy for the rest of my life. Then I kind of think about that more, whereas I was dead against marriage before. You can go through my YouTube channel and hear about that. Yeah, so I'm not saying that's definitely going to happen, that I'm definitely going to do that, but I'm just saying it's crossed my mind as a possibility thing. Well, it's crossed my mind as I would like to do that sometimes, but I'm like, hang on a minute, Sandra, you don't like marriage, you don't want to live with a guy, but it's not just a guy, it's him. So I'm like, okay. But you know what I mean? It's just weird. But I guess it's because he's my soulmate. I love him implicitly already. So, and things just feel so good and natural with him. So, you know, it's natural for me to feel that way, because I'm not looking for any other guy anymore. I mean, you know, after 10 years of trying to find this guy, it's like I don't want any other guy anymore. I think this is the guy for me. So it's kind of like I'm gone off dating sites now. He's gone off dating sites now. There's no need for me to be on ASAP anymore. There's no need for me to be on Facebook dating anymore or Badoo anymore. They've all gone. I've been deleting myself. Well, not removing, what is it? Leaving groups on Facebook, not my own dating groups, obviously, I'm still running them, but leaving the other people's groups when I don't need to be in them anymore, because I'm not searching for anyone anymore. And there's ace.love, is it? There's a new like asexual dating site which I would recommend, but I don't, you know, want to be on it anymore. I've deleted myself off it because I'm not looking for a relationship anymore now I've got one, you know? I need to focus on the relationship I've got and making that the best it can be with him. And I just think, you have to really determine to succeed and have the patience of a saint. I personally do not know anyone that has spent 10 years looking for their soulmate. I don't know of another person like me in that respect. But I know there's a lot of asexuals who have, excuse me, been looking for the right person for a long time. But my specific person is Indian. I knew that. So I've been looking for them for like 10 years. Anyway, I don't want to keep coughing. It's not good. I've got an interview later today, so I'm going to save my voice. I'm going to love you and leave you for now. To summarize, go on as many dating sites, dating apps, and in groups, dating groups as possible. Be proactive. Get rid of people that are no good for you. Move on quickly. And never give up on your dreams. And don't let anyone tell you can't get who you want, because you can.